Yu has a dad! That shouldn't be something I have to point out. But do y'all have any idea how many times in these shows no one has dads? We're lucky if they get a mom. It's like they just expected us to believe that these people were hatched or some shit. But yeah, no. Yu's got a dad and, other stuff. How do you let your son get to this point? Like, you didn't know they're dressing him up in girls' clothes? God, you're a bad parent. Put you on all the other anime parents. Also, Yu wears boots. Is it weird that I never noticed that? Yu wears boots. Weird. Alright, so, it's kind of the best I can do for jokes this week, because, we had a very different natured episode this week. From the minute it begins, there's kind of a different feel to it. When Yu's mom said that his dad was going to be coming in town, I expected a gag. I expected some sort of joke about him being in girls' clothes or them saying something goofy. But there wasn't. We were just told his dad's coming in town. Just straight to the point, move on to the next scene. This breaks the normal pattern of this show, including humor or more faster animation. What this does is this actually immediately tells us we're in store for a different natured episode. We're not going to be getting our usual feel. This is how you should properly convey things like this. Not just really hammer it home with like annoying dialogue or anything like that. Just do little tweaks to give off a feeling that something is different. And we get that something is different immediately in the next scene. We see Megumi heading to the... I keep calling it carnival, but it's a fair. It doesn't fucking matter. They go to the place the show takes place at. And we find this kid sitting there. The kid is beat up. This also does a good job of telling us that something is different because we see a real-world consequence of things happening. People get beat up. If I'm making this sound simple, it's because you actually don't need a lot of big, complicated stuff that a lot of anime wants you to believe you do to believe that a scene is serious. The best way, in my opinion, to convey a tone change or something like that is simplistic things. Simple things that will resonate with people, that people will be understand. Rather, it's showing things a little bit differently or showing something that a person can relate to. We then find out that this kid is from another team who was attacked by some other third Vanguard team that wiped all of them out and were going to burn their banner. We then get to what is overall the big theme of the episode and what has been a big theme of this season. That idea of home and how it relates to your identity. Everyone who in Team Blackout thinks of Team Blackout as part of their family and themselves as a bigger part of something, as a part of something bigger. So therefore, the idea that there are people out there who are willing to destroy that for other people is a big deal to them. And because it's a big deal to them, and because the show knew to convey things like that, it is a big deal to us, the audience, because since we've spent so much time now with these characters, just having fun with them and seeing their day-to-day lives and understanding how they think, it really makes a difference when the show then wants you to believe when something is being serious. So, we then get a bit where the Orphist guy draws a description of the sleeves of the person someone used to take out this kid's team. And immediately Donji reacts. And they try to play it off with Donji. And they're like, oh, your artist skills are so cool. But if you look, no one believes it. Again, reiterating, we're in a more serious arc because everyone is taking things more seriously. Donji keeps secrets. The show has established this, and it's time for those secrets to start having an impact on things. So then Donji's like, oh, I gotta do something. I'll be back in time for the tournament. He's obviously not going to be back, or the meeting with the other teams. Obviously, he's not going to be back in time for that. That's how plot works. Meanwhile, you have the B-plot going of Yu's dad coming home. Yu, obviously, I don't think I'm reading into this too much by the way they insinuate it. Yu doesn't seem to have a strong relationship with his father. Rather, that will go into, or it's just because the writers don't overly care about it, will remain to be seen. But you sort of have this thing of like, something to be excited for, something to anticipate, dad being home. It's what everyone's talking about. But for Yu, there's the other side of things. There's what's going on with all his new friends. And that you sort of see how that has become such a big portion of his life. His dad coming back isn't really that important in comparison. We then fast forward, it's finally Saturday. Megumi, Tamari, and I keep wanting to call him Zenitsu, but that's the Demon Slayer guy. What's this guy's name? Zakuza? Something like that? Yeah, Zakuza. They then go to the meeting in Donji's place. I don't personally think it is a good idea to bring a high school freshman girl to a scene where they're discussing people literally being attacked, but whatever. So they all go in there, and we get like one of our only few gags in this show, and that's Tamari reacting to the other team. I also like that the teams all look like normal people. Like, I remember in G when we met all the clan leaders, and everyone was just this weird personification of their clan, and they wanted you to laugh, but it really wasn't funny. That's how I sum up most of Cardfight Vanguard G. It really wasn't funny. But yeah, so then you have it that Tamari, when someone kind of pokes fun at Megumi, Tamari reacts and then uses like humor to deflect. It doesn't feel like an actual joke, it just feels like wordplay because we've established that's just how Tamari is. The gags in this episode don't really feel like jokes, they just kind of feel like little things that happen to push the plot forward and also to break up kind of the tension of the episode a little bit. So then, they then find out that the team this kid claimed to be from, no, they were taken down 2 weeks ago, not recently. So they then got to run back. Was I the only one who didn't see it coming that this kid was going to be that? I'm so used to these random one-off side characters showing up in card game anime just to convey the plot to people, that the idea that, no, it's part of the plan just didn't really register to me. So yeah, so then that happens. But Yu Yu's dad is back. We don't see Yu Yu's dad's face. Now again, this is all predicated that Yu Yu's dad won't be more important later, which is always a possibility. But just going based on this episode, I feel the point to not really showing Yu Yu's dad's face, and all that goes back to what I was saying, that Yu Yu is more concerned over what's going to happen with his friends. But what is most important about Yu Yu's dad being there is Yu Yu's dad notices that Yu Yu has changed. His dad isn't around much, but can immediately tell something is different. Yu Yu has grown and is a bit of a different person. So when the dad then knows that something is more important to Yu Yu right now, he then says, Yu Yu, you can go. It gets weird saying Yu Yu so much, but essentially just, what I'm saying is that the point is, the dad recognizes Yu Yu's growth and then responds to it, telling him that this is important. We then cut to everyone gets back to the place where it turns out the carnival has been trashed. I imagine everyone is finally dying from that tetanus they got when they like touched something the wrong way. And then we find out that Bold Guy, the kid, and Toya, of all people, are our antagonists for the arc. Remember, I use the term antagonist, not villain, because what makes us feel fresh and different is because Toya is not being introduced to us for the first time. We had a couple episodes with him. We saw what was in Toya's head. We know what he's going through, and we know the pain he's had to deal with in life. Because we got that first, when Toya shows up and is part of this insanity, my first reaction is, oh, this is our bad guy, Yu Yu, go beat him up and double crit his ass! My reaction is, oh no, what's happened next? My immediate thing is, what has now happened to push Toya to this point? We've seen that he's competitive. We've seen that his competitive edge can lead to self-destructive tendencies. So what has now happened to push him to this point? What happened to the guy who now all of a sudden was more excited for Vanguard again and wanted to try and enjoy it again? What has now pushed him to very angrily want to just destroy instead of trying to create? What made it so when he fought Megumi, he didn't get into it? He didn't enjoy it. He was just angry the entire time. On a related note, personal opinion, as a Bastion player, Megumi should have fucking won that match. Magnolia is actually a bit of a hard matchup for Bastion, because even though we as Bastion players are doing what we can to circumvent the fact that we have low shield values in our decks, getting in 6 attacks per turn on the Persona ride can be very hard to deal with. And granted, we don't know how far into the fight that was, but that's not an easy matchup for Bastion to win. But yeah, no, so then the episode ends with, I guess they're gonna blow the place up? I guess that's where that's going? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But what I am getting at here, above all else, is that this was a seamless transition in tone. This was a perfect way to get us in gear for the more serious plot and to take advantage of the things the show has set up. I don't feel like anything was pulled out of its ass. The things that we saw characters do in this episodes and the things that we feel might be coming with them feel earned and well done. So good work, Overdress. You did the thing Cardfight Vanguard G could never accomplish. So yeah, that was this week's episode of Vanguard. Give me your thoughts on it. It's been a while since I've had something that I could kind of like really analyze from a serious perspective like this. It was kind of a nice change of pace. Tell me about that below. And as for the Vanguard question of the week, God, it was a long week. But this week, we finally got the effects of the Brush with Legends cards. We saw the new Dragonic Overlord, which seems pretty cool, and we saw the new Phantom Blaster Dragon, which makes me feel I'll still be playing Bastion next set. But what did you think of these two? And are you a little disappointed this is it? I actually assumed every nation was going to get a new ride line that fit this sort of criteria. But it's just the two, which is kind of a little disappointing. And then the cards themselves, they're fun, but like, I don't know, they don't really have that feeling of like majestic legends in the same way like that first G set that supported the older stuff or some of the other like legacy support has had over the years. But tell me that below. And as always, click to like, click subscribe, and join me next week as we'll see if Yu can make it in time to save his friends.